Lifeline by Robert Heinlein. The chairman rapped loudly for order. Gradually, the catcalls and boos died away as the several self-appointed sergeant-at-arms persuaded a few hot-headed individuals to sit down. The speaker on the rostrum by the chairman seemed unaware of the disturbance. His bland, faintly insolent face was impassive. The chairman turned to the speaker and addressed him in a voice in which anger and annoyance were barely restrained. "Dr. Pinero." The doctor was faintly stressed. "I must apologize to you for the unseemly outburst during your remarks. I am surprised that my colleagues should so far forget the dignity proper to men of science as to interrupt a speaker, no matter," he paused and set his mouth, "no matter how great the provocation." Pinero smiled in his face, a smile that was in some way an open insult. The chairman visibly controlled his temper and continued, "I am anxious that the program be concluded decently and in order. I want you to finish your remarks. Nevertheless, I must ask you to refrain from affronting our intelligence with ideas that any educated man knows to be fallacious. Please confine yourself to your discovery, if you have made one." Pinero spread his fat white hands palms down. "How can I possibly put a new idea into your heads if I do not first remove your delusions?" The audience stirred and muttered. Someone shouted from the rear of the hall, "Throw the charlatan out! We've had enough!" The chairman pounded his gavel. "Gentlemen, please!" Then to Pinero, "Must I remind you that you are not a member of this body and that we did not invite you?" Pinero's eyebrows lifted. "So, I seem to remember an invitation on the letterhead of the Academy." The chairman chewed his lower lip before replying, "True, I wrote that invitation myself, but it was at the request of one of the trustees, a fine, public-spirited gentleman, but not a scientist, not a member of the Academy." Pinero smiled his irritating smile. "So I should have guessed. Old Bidwell, not so, of Amalgamated Life Insurance, and he wanted his trained seals to expose me as a fraud, yes? For if I can tell a man the day of his own death, no one will buy his pretty policies. But how can you expose me if you will not listen to me first? Even supposing you had the wit to understand me. He has sent jackals to tear down a lion." He deliberately turned his back on them. The muttering of the crowd swelled and took on a vicious tone. The chairman cried vainly for order. There arose a figure in the front row. "Mr. Chairman." The chairman grasped the opening and shouted, "Gentlemen, Dr. Van Rijn-Smit has the floor." The commotion died away. The doctor cleared his throat, smoothed the forelock of his beautiful white hair, and thrust one hand into a side pocket of his smartly tailored trousers. He assumed his women's club manner. "Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the Academy of Science, let us have tolerance. Even a murderer has the right to say his say before the state exacts its tribute. Shall we do less, even though one may be intellectually certain of the verdict? I grant Dr. Pinero every consideration that should be given by this august body to any unaffiliated colleague, even though," he bowed slightly in Pinero's direction, "we may not be familiar with the university which bestowed his degree. If what he has to say is false, it cannot harm us. If what he has to say is true, we should know it." His mellow, cultivated voice rolled on, soothing and calming. "If the eminent doctor's manner appears a trifle inurbane of our tastes, we must bear in mind that the doctor may be from a place, or a stratum, not so meticulous in these matters. Now, our good friend and benefactor has asked us to hear this person and carefully assess the merit of his claims. Let us do so with dignity and decorum." He sat down to a rumble of applause, comfortably aware that he had enhanced his reputation as an intellectual leader. Tomorrow the papers would again mention the good sense and persuasive personality of America's handsomest university president. Who knows, maybe now old Bidwell would come through with that swimming pool donation. When the applause had ceased, the chairman turned to where the centre of the disturbance sat, hands folded over his little round belly, face serene. "Will you continue, Dr. Pinero?" "Why should I?" The chairman shrugged his shoulders. "You came for that purpose." Pinero arose. "So true, so very true, but was I wise to come? Is there anyone here who has an open mind, who can stare a bare fact